Hi everyone, welcome back to the 4 Eyes channel. Today in this video, as you can see, I've got my Spider-Man costume on, and today's video is all about a brand new tutorial on how to make this centre split iconic DIY costume mask for your build. So go with these goggles I've shown you in the previous tutorial to make it set your mask and goggle ensemble apart from the rest. Now the best thing about this mask is it's very simple to make and it's very cheap as well. Remember, this channel is all about making it cheap but looking pretty sweet. Okay, so for this build you're going to need a few items. First being this red material. It's a red jersey stretch material and there's a link down below in the description where you can go to eBay and buy it. It was about £5, it was very cheap, and I got 1 metre by 1 metre, so I can make several of these. And this is good as if you make any mistakes you can make a second or third, but you shouldn't make mistakes because that's what these videos are for. So I made mistakes so you don't have to. The next thing you're going to need is a needle and thread. It doesn't matter what size or length the needle is, as long as it's small enough to fit the thread in, and the thread's got to be red. It's pinnacle to be red so that you don't see the thread coming through the middle line there. And the last thing you're going to need is these awesome goggles if you've made them from my previous video to make this mask and goggles look pretty sweet. So just like that, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is go online and download or draw this template you see on the screen right now. Now this template is not to scale, so we're going to have to work on this to make it fit your head the best it can. So once you've downloaded and cut out or just drawn your own version of this template, what you need to do is measure the circumference of your head. In this video we're going to be using a tape measure, but you can actually use a clothing tape measure which is a lot more flexible to measure the circumference of your head. Okay, so this is how you measure the circumference of your head for this template. We've got a special guest here, Angelina Jolie, and basically what you need to do is get that tape measure from before, and on your head, not on the model one here obviously, you measure from where your eyebrows are to the side of your head, all around to the top of your ears, up until you go around the whole model. And basically my head reads at 22 inches. So my head is 22 inches. So whatever size your head is, around like this, cut that number into half. So 22 in half is 11. And this is the scale that's going to help us to measure the template in the next step. So next what you need to do is to take those measurements from your head. In my case it was 22 inches and half that, and as you can see I've got 11 inches. Now what you need to do is to, as you can see clearly, the outer line I've drawn all the way around this template, all the way to the bottom, and then extended the neck even longer than I need to, because it's always good to have extra length in your piece. So for the next bit what you need to do is to take your template, put it on your material, get a pen and draw around the outside of the template. Now do this twice. What you need to do is to draw around this one, and once you've done this side, flip it over and then draw that side, leaving enough space between this template and the previous one. A quick tip, if this keeps moving your template when you're drawing with it, what you can do is get a heavy object, in my case some lovely oil from my motorcycle, and it will stop the template from moving about. So once you've drawn out both the right and left hand side of your template, you can remove the paper. You won't need that for the rest of this build. Now as you can see now, both sides are symmetrical, and the next bit is to cut this thing out. Do not cut on that line, as that line is the line that you'll be sewing on. Do not cut on the inside of the mask, as that is where your face is going to be going inside. Now when cutting out, what you need to do, and I'll demonstrate with the tape measure, you'll want to cut out at least, I know it's hard to see in the video, but at least half an inch. So on the tape measure it's going to be this silver bit here. So when you're cutting round, you'll cut around all around. So let's just move that a second. When you're cutting round, you'll be cutting like that, as you can see on the template, not on the line, an inch away. This means that you've got a lot of material to work with in case you make a bit of a mistake. And remember, this should be oversized from your head. This should not be too small. If it's too small you won't be able to make it fit your head. If it's too big, all you need to do then is to add more stitches later on. So every single cosplayer out there needs to know how to sew with a needle and thread. and today I'm going to show you a technique that's very simple to do to help you sew your mask together, and it'll be strong enough so that you can use it for many cons. Now imagine this black line being that one line you draw around the template, and these dots are going to be how I'm going to show you how to use this simple technique. And it quite literally is just weaving it in and out, in and out, in and out. So if you imagine that this black line here is your material, and you're literally getting the sewing needle and doing this action. I'm going to demonstrate that now with these dots. So what you need to do is push the needle down, and for the first stitch be careful you don't pull out all the thread, leave a little bit to the edge, and then put it right through the hole like that. Be careful not to pull out that first stitch, and then down again, pull it through, and then back up again, and then one more. Those stitches did come out at the bottom, but it doesn't really matter. I think you're getting it right now. So as you can see, you put the needle in, underneath, out, in, underneath, out, and it'll look something like this on this side, and it'll look exactly the same on the other side too. It's a very simple stitch, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit more later on when it comes to the actual material piece. So what you need to do is to use clothes pegs to pin both sides of your template together with the ink on the outside on both sides. And as you can see now, like I said before, put the needle in, put the needle out in a straight line, and you shouldn't have any worries about getting the stitch done. It's very simple, very effective, and very strong. So once you've done the sewing, next thing to do is to try this on. So what you need to do is to put your hand on the inside of your template and then fold it outwards. Now I've already tried this on, so I know this fits me perfectly. I've already made two of these. This is my third one, so I know exactly my measurements. So if it fits you perfectly, don't worry about that. If it's too tight, you've made your template a bit too small, and there's not much you can do about that. This is why I've said at the very beginning, make sure that your template is bigger or to the right side of your head. It's always good to make it bigger, because if it's a little bit bigger, this is the back line, all you need to do is to sew from just where the corner of your head comes around, so it's about here on mine, and then sew a line about ½ centimetre going all the way to the bottom, and then try the mask on again. Once you're happy, you can remove this extra bit of material, but until then just keep sewing down, or use some pegs from before, and you can just peg as much as you need, and try the mask back on, and if it fits, then just start sewing that line. It'll be a bit easier for you. Okay, so you finished the sewing and you got it to fit your head, and it should look something like this. This is obviously the inner side of the mask with the line that you've done, and you know it's fitted. Now we're going to try and put the eye holes inside this mask. It's a very simple thing to do that I've come up with to make it even, and all you need to do is put the mask back the right way around and put the mask on, and you're going to need a pen. And this pen is to basically put one dot on either eye, not both, just on one. And what you need to do is put the mask on, make sure it fits, close your eye, get your finger first, and so you know where to put the pen. You're going to take the pen tip, and obviously I'm not going to use the pen right now, but put the pen tip right where your finger is, and put a little squirrely on it, and then I'm going to show you how to cut that eye hole out evenly. So I'm going to demonstrate that quickly right now. Now this is what we need to do. Get your pen like I said before, and make sure that the line is exactly where you want it to be. Now obviously it would help you get someone to look at the proportions, but I don't, but I've made two of these already, so it's not a big issue. Now I'm happy with the position. Take your finger like I said, close your eye, my eye closed on one side, get the pen and then put it, just gently scribble on your mask where your eyelid is, and hopefully there's a mark on there, I can't really see just yet, and then take off the mask. So once you've got that eye hole dot that you put on one side of the mask, what you need to do is to take one hand, put it on that dot, and then get ready to then fold your mask inside out. So now you've turned it inside out, what we need to do is to use something round to make a hole. Now there's a few items I've found that you could use. You could use the sewing needle cotton reel. You could use a coin. You could use the end of this pen. But I'm going to use a button. The reason why I'm using a button is because I can see straight through that button. So I'm going to put it right there. I can see that dot of black ink underneath. Take a pen, not the Marco pen from before, not this one, it's a bit too big. And then draw around your button. Now this doesn't have to be a massive hole. For those who wear contact lenses, like the special effects ones, you'll know that they have a tiny little hole inside them, so you know that you can see through a tiny opening, so this doesn't have to be massive. Now I've got this circle here. What we need to do is cut this out, and then once we cut this out, I'll show you how to do the other side evenly. So a tip for you to cut this out so you don't cut yourself, all you need to do is to fold the material in half like this, and just do a tiny little snip, and then you've got an opening to start cutting your hole out. So once your hole's cut out, it'll look something like this. What you need to do is put something heavy on your material and flatten it out. This is the key to make it even on both sides. Don't worry if you cut this out and it's not even. Whatever you cut out on this side is going to be the same on the other side. Just trace around it the best you can. And once you've done this, what we need to do is to, I'm happy with that, is to then turn your mask the other way around, so it's as if you're going to wear it. So there you have the hole. We're going to do the same thing and cut this out as well. Don't worry if you don't cut around the blue bit, as the goggles will cover this up once you've got them applied. Okay, so there we have it, the eye holes are done, and it should look something like this. Now if you turn this inside out, like I said before, or the correct way to wearing it, like I said, you might see a little bit of blue, but don't worry because your goggles will cover this up. The next thing to do is to try this on with your goggles. Okay, so that is it. As you can see, the final product looks pretty sweet, and just to show you that there is eye holes in this one, there they are, and as you can see, you cannot even see that those dodgy looking eye holes are actually covered up with the goggles. Now I have not glued the goggles on just yet because I don't have a mannequin, and I don't fancy putting glue on the edges of this and sticking it to my face just in case it actually sticks to my face. But there's one thing you can do, is where the strap comes in here, where the nose piece is and the strap comes around the back, all you need to do is to remove them and put a bit of stitching in between where the holes are, and then sew it around and sew it onto the mask. That is what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm not doing it just yet, as I'm still making several of these masks and still adjusting it to fit me. Okay, so that is it for this video. As you can see, I've still got the costume on and it's very comfortable, and I really wanted to showcase how good this new mask looks. I'm hoping this video was useful and that you go out and try and make your very own Spidey mask with the goggles and even these web shooters as well. So just before I go, I want to say a big massive thank you to everyone who has liked, commented and subscribed. I've just got over 180 subscribers. I've really got 200 and I can't wait for that top margin of the 200. It's going to be such a great feeling, because you make this little thing in here, it works now, it's starting to beat, and it's a nice feeling, especially when people ask me questions about the costumes and I can help them, and those who come over to Instagram, we have got a little chit chat and get to see what you're making. I want to thank Charlie especially, because he went out and made almost an exact replica of these goggles. So when he showed me this picture on screen, I was just like, wow, they look just like mine. So obviously I'm very happy for everyone emulating and copying my work. One of these phrases out there, imitation is the best form of flattery, and honestly I'm genuinely happy to see my work out there, but also it's your work because you're doing all the hard work. Okay, so that's it for this video. Please like, dislike, comment and subscribe. There's some links down below to Charlie, to my Instagram, to the Facebook group where you can download the templates for the web shooters, download the template for the mask, and a link to the page for the goggles and the web shooter videos, and also some other stuff as well. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully I get to see you tomorrow. Good morning, good evening, and good night.